Well, since the start of 2021, Japanese wrestling promotion put out some brand new events, so I'm giving you guys four events from three different promotions. All of that will be discussed on this episode of Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Welcome everybody to Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling from AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, matches, wrestlers, and championships. I'm your host, J Rod here. Now, as you know, I always like to talk about and review many of Japanese wrestling promotions. I start to become addicted to it, if you guys have noticed that. Of yes, of recently. But however, I got more. Stardom actually had a 3-day event, but I'm only able to see the first two, which is called the New Year's Stars. Uh, from what I can gather, there hasn't been a championship match for that for either both. Um, the other Joshi promotion, Tokyo Joshi Pro, it was really good. Two championship matches that took place. Um, what other ones? And of course, Pro Wrestling Noah with their newest event, New Sunrise, which is very interesting. So I say let's review starting with day one of Stardom's New Year's Stars. Okay, so we're in day one of New Year's Stars. This took place on January 2nd of 2021 of this year. So let's start with the first match. We have Lady C, who is unaffiliated with any faction or unit as they call it, facing off against Himeka of Donna de Mondo. So it was a pretty good match. Not gonna lie about that. It's not one of the best as an opener, but it was really good because in this kind of match, you see Lady C, who is trying and determined to get her win, but however, with Himeka, who is a member of the Donna de Mondo, or DDM as they call it for short, she was able to pick up the victory on this one with a very impressive way. The next match we have a usual, as they usually do, three-way matches. So we have Ruka versus Gogi Def and Tam Nakano. Now here's the interesting part. This is a two-on-one scenario because if you guys have followed the stories between Ruka and Kogi Def, they're part of a faction or unit called Stars. Tam Nakano is now part of a separate unit that was part of Stars known as the Cosmic Angels. Tam Nakano had issues regarding with the ways Stars is being run. So she and Unagi and Mina decided to form their own faction, their own group, and decided they are out. But however, seems like in this particular match, Tam Nakano is willing to strike on her own, even though the members of Stars believe that they will never succeed without them. But in this match, she had to prove it that she did. It was pretty good, except for you have to deal with Gogi Dev. All she does, yay! Yeah, that's all she does. The metal horns every single time. But Tam did prove that she can hang, and that's about it. Next match, we have a 6-woman tag team match. We have Queen's Quest, Azami, Zaya Kamitani, and Momo Watanabe versus Star members Zaya Ida, Starlight Kid, and Mayu Iwatani. And when this is the Stars faction that I mentioned. Now these guys are gonna face the Cosmic Angels once Mina returns from her injury. She had a broken nose on the 20 December 26th event which ironically was her birthday, and she got injured on her birthday. But the match was pretty good, and even though this is the kind of the fact with this um how do I say formation of the stars with these individuals with Saya, Starlight Kid, and Mayu is the perfect one. They're always one of the toughest individuals, especially Saya, who's currently now the future of Stardom Championship. It was pretty good. I am aware of all the Queen's Quest are good too as well, but however, there has to be a winner, and that winner turned out to be Stars. Next match is a singles match. We have the other member of Cosmic Angels, Unagi Unagi Sayaka versus a member of Queen's Quest, Utani ha- Hayashishara, who's in fact the current um, Stardom champion, who's the top. I think that's the call the goddess of Stardom. So basically, Unagi, in the other hand, wanted to prove that she can hang as a singles competitor too, even though she and the other Cosmic Angels are the current artists of Stardom champions. Basically, that's a trios title. But I have to say, she did pretty good for someone striking as a singles competition. But once again, like I said, right now, the Cosmic Angels, Mina, she is out due to the fact she got injured on the 26th, which was her birthday as well. But however, does she stand a chance against the champion? Answer to that, no. So she's continued to prove she is dominant. Now the main event, which was a best 2 out of 3 falls between two factions. First faction we have it's an 8-woman tag team. We have Oedo Tai, consistent of Saki Kashima, Konami, B Priestley, and Natsuko Tora versus Donna Del Mondo, Natsupoi, Makai, Suri, and Julia. Now, as you know, if you've been following recently in the previous episodes that I reviewed Stardom events, Konami and B Priestley are the goddesses of championship, which is the tag team championships, just the two of them. So this was a pretty interesting match, which is 2 out of 3 falls. Now, the first fall went to Odell Tai. Second fall to Donna Demondo or DDM. But however, who gets the third victory? That becomes DDM. So they picked up the first victory. But however, during their match before it ended, Natsuko Tora actually pulled out the chains and tried to choke Julia to death. Now, in this particular story, what I like is Natsuko Tora actually doesn't give a damn about the rules. She doesn't play. So it appears that we may be seeing another feud. Now, she did this on Julia. And Julia is the Wonder of Stardom champion, basically another title, which they dub as the White Belt. So this was possibly the beginning of a feud between these two. And more of that will be explained on the second day. We're going to do that right now. Okie dokie, we're in the second day of Stardom's New Year's Stars, which took place on the 3rd of January of this month. So let's go with the first match, which is a 3-way match between Lady C, Saki Kashima of Odeotai, and versus Makai, Makai, who's part of DDM. Now, however, this particular match, Makai and Lady C were seems like they're getting into the match, but however, Saki Kashima was not. She's the one person who's like, you guys go ahead, I'll just stay right here. But no, they try to get her involved. In these type of matches, you don't know what to expect in triple threats because it gets a little confusing. But however, in this match, Saki Kashima once again stole this match as usually she's a villain, a heel in this one with the heelish faction Odeotai. Next match we have In fact, a resumed feud between stars consistent of Ruka and Saya Ida versus the Cosmic Angels, Tam Nakano and Unagi Sayaka. As I told you before, Mina Shirakawa, who's one third of the other third member of this group, she's out on injury. She's inactive, broke her nose on the 26th event, December 26th event, which was her birthday. So she's going to be out for this month and possibly next month. The match was showing a lot of ways in this one, as you know. Tensions feud. Now, mostly in this one, you see Saya Ida, who has issues with both these women. It's always been demonstrated. She feels like she turned her backs on them. She didn't play well with they didn't play well with the other members of Stars. But however, Tam Nakano, you know, called her, a how do I say, a gorilla, and it kind of makes the feud kind of interesting. But however, can she still be dominant, even though she's mostly more cohesive with either Starlight Kid or Mayu. In this perspective, they both were in this match, but the Cosmic Angels actually won this match. But however, post match, it seems Tam Nakano still wants a piece of Saya. She's not done, as you know. If you recall from the previous Stardom events, in the previous match where Stars lost to the Cosmic Angels for the Artists of Stardom Championship. So basically, they feel beating them it's not enough. Basically, they have to prove they can still do this, no matter how many times they have to go over. So Tam Nakano made it issued a challenge to Saya Ida to take her away, take away her belt, the Future of Stardom title. And of course, Saya never backs down from a fight. She's determined to prove herself that she's, an up and comer, that she's willing to do all the work. So this is going to be an interesting. So we may see some point in the future Tam Nakano getting two titles. Now the next match we have stars consistent of Starlight Kid, Gokigen Death, Mayu Iwatana versus Queen's Quest, Azami, Zaya Kamitani, and Utami Hayashishida. This was a very interesting match because, as you know, there's two members of this faction. They have championships of Queen's Quest. Azami is the high speed champion, and Utami is the goddess of stardom. So, this was a really interesting match where, of course, Queen's Quest won. But however, the way it ended, Azami seems like she is looking for a challenger for her eyes. So she challenged Gokigen Death, but she's asking her to take out the clown makeup, and she asked for Rossi Ogawa, the founder, to make the match happen. And of course, Gokigen Death actually accepted the challenge, which is going to be interesting. Next match, we have another member of Queen's Quest, Momo Watanabe versus DDM's Zuri. This match was so hardcore. You guys know how it is where you're exceeding your time limit. Well, in this one, that's exactly what happened. Both of them tried pinfalls, both of them tried submissions. Nothing works. Like, they were all determined to win. But however, they reached their time, so it became a time limit draw. No winner. But however, post match, Suri is looking for a challenger too for her CWA title, which she's currently has, and of course Momo Watanabe accepted as well. Like, basically, we're seeing champions are looking for new challenger, and there's those who believe that don't deserve it. But we'll get to that later. Uh, Now, the next match, which is the main event, we have Odo Tai, B. Priestley, Konami, and Natsuko Tora versus DDM's Natsupoi, Himeka, and Julia. This match, once again, a feud sparked between both Julia and Natsuko. As you know, Natsuko doesn't play well with others. She even tried to use the chain, but it did not work. But the match ended with a very impressive win by Natsupo. No, hold on, excuse me. Natsupoi pinning Konami. Now, automatically, if you guys know this very well in the Japanese wrestling world, if you pin a champion, you automatically will get a title shot. So, however, she even did stated who she'd be teaming in the post match. She said she wants Himeka to be her partner. Now, however, what does B Priestley and Konami say? They say, why not? You guys suck. So basically, however, when they all Odell Tai left, they were about to DDM was about to celebrate their victory, but however, they were attacked again by Odell Tai, and Natsuko has issued a challenge to Julia that she wants to take away her wants her to put her title on the line, the Wonder of Stardom title, in a no rules type of match. She's always been the type of individual in story wise, character wise, who doesn't play by the rules. So basically, it's still unclear whether Julia will accept because she was choked out again. So we'll see what happens in the upcoming if the once day 3 is uploaded or so. So I think that's it right now with Stardom. I say let's move on with the other Yoshi promotion, Tokyo Yoshi Pro Wrestling. Okay, so we're in the other promotion, Tokyo Yoshi Pro Wrestling, which is a sister company for DDT Pro Wrestling. So let's start with the first match, which is, like, once again, some of these girls I do recognize, others I don't. We have Arisu Endo versus Suzumi. Now, I have seen Suzumi before, like maybe once or twice. She's really good. Very, a bit of a striker, but, she gets the job done. So I'll just tell you the winner anyway. Suzumi won this match impressively. Next match, we have a tag team. We have Horuna Neko, Pam Harajuku, Harajuku versus Moka Miyamoto and Yuna Manase. Now, I hadn't seen the second team before. Match was pretty good, but like a bit of the hit hard type from what I can tell, especially with Palm when she did try to hurt what's her name, Yuna, but the match ended in Imoko and Yuna's favor, so they won the match. Next match was an interesting called a red and belt rope rename in the capsule match. This was a match between Hyper Misao versus Shoko Nakajima. Now, Shoko Nakajima, you may have heard her name if you guys are AEW fans out there. Shoko Nakajima teamed up with B Priestley to take on uh, Britt Baker and Rio at the pre-show at Fight for the Fallen. This match they had like it's kind of like a weirdo hardcore championship match, hardcore match or something. Kind of weird. I can't explain it, but I'll tell you who won anyway. It was Hyper Misao. She won because most of the time I've been seeing Naka, Nakajima being more aggressive, but it did not stop Hyper from winning. But it did. Hyper won the match. Next match, we have a 6-woman match. We have Mira Maisumi, Mio Wanatabe, and Nao Nakukuda versus Raku, Imizuku, and brace yourselves, Aja Kong. Yes, folks, you heard that plain and straight come from the horse's mouth. Aja Kong. I'm like, oh boy. I was like wondering, okay, how can these individuals the first team actually ta- uh, can take on someone like her. There was a moment where they're all lying in the ground, like playing a little hopscotch or something. But it's Kong. You had to be more careful because she's the heaviest out of everyone who's in that ring. But somehow it was Miyu Wanatabe who picked up the victory against Mizuki. She They managed to get isolate Aja Kong away, so one can pick up the victory, and that's what she did. So Miyu, uh, Miurai, and Nao actually won. Next match is another tag team match. We have Sena Shido and Hikari Nao versus a team called Neo Bishigun, consistent of May Saint Michelle and Saki Sama. Now this was a bit more comedic on this one because May Saint Michelle has this one of those trays that butlers use. She tried to use that as a weapon on countless occasions, even when the refs saw that, even when one of her opponents saw that, they tried to use it on them, but it wasn't no help. But without the ref seeing, May actually used it to win the match, and that allowed her team to win, which was a bit more funnier. Now this next match is a bit of a grudge match between Mika Ito and Miyu Wana Yamashita. Now these two have been they have faced each other before in the end of last year, but it ended in a time limit draw. This match was more hard hitting than any other match I've witnessed. I know that Miyu, she is trained in martial arts a little bit or kickboxing, but oh my god, she won with a knockout. That's how she won. As for Maki, she can't believe she lost, and she was crying like a little girl. Well, she is a girl, but you know what I mean. Like she can't believe she lost to her in a bad fashion. Next match is championship match. We have the Princess Tag Team Championship. Kiri Mahito and Yuki Kamifuku versus, hope I pronounced this team right name, Bakuretsu Sisters, consisting of Yuki Aino and Nodoka Temna. Um, this match was interesting, as you can tell from what I can tell. Uh, the first team were more of determined to win these titles, but however, it's the other team that the champions that actually prevailed, doing whatever it takes to ensure they retain the titles, and that's what they did. So they retained their titles, and we move on from that. But this one is a very interesting. This is the Princess of Princess Championships, consistent of Rika Tatsumi and Yuka Sakasaki, longtime friends. Now this match was so good. You've seen two friends who knew each other from the early days, and now they are fighting one another. You look at Yuka Sakasaki, who's a sensational wrestler, big time name in the wrestling business, but you got Rika, who is so determined to prove she can strike on her own. Like she was envious of Yuka for her success, but this match did prove they were going back and forth with submissions and pinfalls. But by ref decision, it was Rika who won the match, and she was so emotional. So was Yuka. Like she can't believe she lost to someone that she knew. So I don't know what they were saying in post match because there was no translator with in this promotion, but I can tell that she was very emotional and she called out on her friend Miyu Wanatabe. I don't know what they were saying, but great match. I love it. So I think that's it right now with Tokyo Yoshi Pro Wrestling. So let's move on with Pro Wrestling Noah. All right, so Pro Wrestling Noah had their first show of the year of 2021. It's called New Sunrise. It is pretty good. I liked it. This one took place in Corkin Hall. So let's start with the first match. We have Kai Fujima teaming up with Full Throttle members Yohei Yoshioka and Hajime Ohara versus, I hope I can pronounce these names right. Yeah, Sutaka Yano, Yuch, uh, Junta Miyawaki teaming up again with Momo no Seishu, consistent of Atsuji Koroje and the current um, GHC Junior Heavyweight Champion Daisuke Harada. This match was very impressive for an opener. I did enjoy it because I'm a fan of Full Throttle because they're amazing junior heavyweight tag team or faction. I mean, I don't know if they will ever have heavy hitters, the heavyweight dudes in their faction, but we'll see what happens. But it was a good match. But however, you cannot determine that Suke Harada, who is one of the best junior heavyweights, teaming with these guys. So, however, it did ended with Daisuke winning the match, pinning. I think it was don't remember which one of the members from Full Throttle. So basically, he's continuing his dominance as the junior ace of the Pro Wrestling Noah division, junior heavyweight division. Next match, we have tag team. We got Congo members Tadasuke and Manabu Soya versus Daiki Inabe and Yoshiki Inamura. Now, this is another interesting match because I have seen Yoshiki Inamura a few times. He is a very strong wrestler who could be in the same pathway as Manabu Soya, but how? And then you got Daiki Inaba, who is also junior heavyweight, who's in the same kind of capacity as Tadusuke. I was so impressed with mostly with Yoshiki, who is a very strong individual. I love the way how he took care of Manabu. How these two strong individuals will face each other, and it was in fact Yoshiki who won the match by pinning him. Great match. I love this one. Now the next match is a very interesting match. We have Masao Inoue versus Kazu Kazuyuki Fujita. This match only lasted 5 seconds. Fujita knocked him out. Yeah, you heard me. 5 seconds. I'm like, that's it. That's it. Well, I guess that it is, but you know what I mean. Now the next match I think we have is another tag team. We have some veterans versus sort of the modern wrestlers of this time. We have Akitoshi Sato versus no, um, Akitoshi Sato and Shido Koshinaka versus Shuhei Yaniguchi and Mohamed Yone. This particular match, the veterans are more aggressive. Like they mostly been targeting uh what's his name? Shahuhe the entire time. Like it's like they had a grudge against him. I don't know what because there was no English commentators like I would have expected because I seen it already with Dragon Gate and excuse me and New Japan, but they actually won the match when they took out Shohei. But as soon as the match was over, they continued to beat him down. But it was Muhammad who got in the way to they have them stop. But whatever the reason is, it's like this is going to be an interesting feud, or we may see some of that with other wrestlers they may face down the line. Next match is a singles competition. We have Kinya Okura, who's very impressive, versus Uzami Nichimura. This was also another good match. Now, I don't know who Uzami Nichimura is. I know about Kinya Okada. He is very impressive. He's one of the guys that came from the Noah Dojo. I was like thinking he was gonna win the match, but it didn't. It was Ozami. what a great submission person, how he pulled it off. I was like, wow, pretty good. I like this match. Next match we have is a tag team match. We have Congo members Neo and Nao versus Stinger members Yuya Suzumi and Hayata. This match was also good as well because in a way you got one member of Stinger who is one half of the GHC tag heavyweight tag team champions, and I think that's um, Yahara Hamayara, who is in fact this particular match. But Congo has always been one of those teams that you know for a fact that they want to prove. No, Stinger are the junior heavyweight tag team champions. My bad, my bad. And of course, these guys from Congo, they're also are two of the three of the junior heavyweights of that division. But man, the Neo and now actually, how do I say, impress? See, okay, sorry about that. So anyway, but it was Niho who pinned Hayata. But post match, once again, there was no translation. Hayata, he is one half of the junior tag team champions. So it appears that Congo are possibly asking for a title shot because, like I said in Japanese way, if you pin a champion, you actually get a title shot. So we'll see what happens. The next match we have more members of Congo. We have Masaki Yamida, Natsuhiko Nakajima, and Kendo versus Segura Gun, Katsumari uh, Murakami, um, Kazushi Sakunaba, and Takashi Segura. Now, this is another good match. Very hard hitting, but it was what's his name? Uh, Katsumari who impressed me the most with like bit of the MMA like like that. And what I like about this, he targeted Keno. The reason is Keno is the GHC national champion. Now it was not too long ago. What's his name? His teammate Katsushi lost to him because Keno outsmarted him. But the match ended very interesting where he choked Keno out. I was like, wow, this guy. I hope he goes for the title. He deserves that because uh Takashi, he is one. He is in fact one. He the other two members are in fact tag team champions, and I'm like, wow, they will get all the gold if that's the case. I'm excited for that. He impressed me a whole lot. Now the next match, it's Kotaro Suzuki versus another member of Stinger, Yoshinari Ogawa. Now these two has been going back and forth with their feud multiple times, like hell, like crazy. There was that moment where that I from earlier in this early of December of last year where Suzuki teamed up with this masked dude, but he stabbed in the back, and turns out he is the third member of Stinger. But however, the match ended in a disqualification when Nozawa interfered along with his masked friends, who we don't even know who he is. Now, somehow, Stinger were able to isolate this masked individual away from uh, Suzuki and Nosawa, and they unmasked him, and it was revealed to be Hideki. So Hideki, whatever his name is, Hideki or Hideka, what I couldn't clearly hear, but it's so insane. They keep battling and battling and battling, even when the match was over. I'm like, wow, very impressive. I like how this feud is going. Now let's get to the main event. We have M's alliance with consistent of Naomichi Marifuji, Keiji Muto, or we know him as the Great Muta, teaming up with wrestling Japanese legend Masato Tanaka, who is, if you guys know who he is the first ever never openweight champion, facing off against Kaito Koimiya, Shiozaki, and their unexpected partner, wrestling legend Hiroshi Hase. The whole uh, venue went ballistic when they heard him there, even the announcers. But the way I saw Hiroshi Hase, he didn't miss a beat. I was like, wow, for a guy who's 59 years old, he's still in good shape. I'm like, wow. I'm like, I commend Go and Kaido picking him as their third partner. But it was, um, how do I say, Go who picked up the victory when he pinned Keiji Muto. Reason is, Muto challenged him for a title. So this is going to be an interesting feud or an interesting storyline. What's going to happen? I'm like so impressed with this whole thing. So I hope you guys enjoy me reviewing all these shows coming from Japan. There's still more to come. I got DDT Pro Wrestling and Dragon Gate with their start of their shows of the year. We'll see what happens, and I still got to review uh, Impact Wrestling Genesis. So I must bid all of you guys adieu. So goodbye, mwah, and have a nice day. Bang.